Wardley pulls a Wilder. I'm going to start by saying that I was massively pissed off at the Wardley fight. I really was. But because you're from Ipswich, I'm going to
I
let
was
you go.
absolutely delighted. As happy as I've been about a knockout in, I think you're going back to, in terms of actually getting up and cheering on my sofa since probably when Joshua did Klitschko, and it was the Adam Smith. We have liftoff. It felt like that. I know it's not. I know it's not like that, but it felt like that in terms of how, yeah, punch from the gods, all of that. It came out of nowhere. It was the most Fabio Wardley fight ever. Like, yeah, he didn't win a second of a minute of a rep, apart from one. And there's Deontay Wilder used to say, we remember he was always saying in the build up to the Tyson Fury fights, that's all I need. You need to concentrate for 12 rounds. I just need to do what I need to do for 1 second. And exactly what happened.
And Wardley did say that in the build up to this fight as well. He said,
Did he actually?
yeah,
Okay.
he said it's probably the only decent thing that Deontay Wilder ever said.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I really missed that. Okay. Which sounds unlikely given I've just quoted it verbatim, but I hadn't heard that Wardley had said that in the build up.
I'm still quite angry about it.
Yes, go on.
So, talk me through the fight from your perspective.
Okay. So the fight, but I'll just start slightly beforehand. I was nervous. Again, it was one of the things we say we love about boxing is that it's not that partisan a sport. You enjoy the spectacle and the bravery and everything of the fighters going in there and doing it. This was a bit different for me because of the Ipswich connection. And when I was looking at Wardley coming in, I was there thinking, because Huni was an unknown quantity, really. Certainly for a lot of the crowd, but the crowd are there just expecting him to win, expecting him to roll over as well, because it wasn't Jarrell Miller, who a lot more of the casual fans who were there would have been expected to see. So when I was looking at Fabio Wardley there, when he was on like kind of the plinth, on the stage bit before he went in, I was thinking he must be absolutely shitting himself. Just on a human level, this must be really nervous. Doing my wife said, and I was watching my wife, my mate, who's none of whom are boxing fans. My mate is an Ipswich fan, and his missus as well. And I'm just there going, look, he was brought up just over there. This is like you could pretty much see Portman Road from the estate he lived on just down the road. It's like this must have been massive to him. And then that pinch me moment, I was thinking the mental strength you must have to get in and do that. I felt nervous for him, and I think you could see like just the nervous energy. As I thinking, imagine you must feel knackered just from the nervous energy if you have all of that going on. So start of the fight, I thought the first few rounds were okay. Like him, not completely Huni, but probably Huni won them. Looked like Wardley wobbled him in the third, and then from there, again, no nervous energy. Looked like he's going to try offload, but then it seemed like just Huni had it all his own way. I think I can't remember if it was a seventh round or he almost backed Wardley up onto the ropes, and I don't think Wardley would have gone down without the ropes. We kind of used the ropes to take pressure. But I could see. I thought Wardley would have done him in 5 just because I thought he'd come in excited, then find his way, and then get rid of him and make a statement. But the longer it went on, and I always score the fights as I go through. I just didn't bother. I didn't bother because he was like, I didn't need to make a note because of what I was seeing. He's like, he's got every round. And then when the knockout came, I didn't expect it. I thought, as I said last week, I didn't expect Steve, Gorman, Fraser Clark, Molina, all these fighters I put in the past, I didn't expect him to beat, and he did. As this was going on, I was like, okay, now his race is run, he's found his level. I thought Huni looks really good, and then bam, and you're like, shit. And my wife's taking the mickey out of me because I was just saying, it's like, the thing is, it's like, you can analyse it however you like. Fabio Wardley's just really fucking hard. That's not. It's not skills. It's not this. It's not that. And it wasn't even like Huni had punched himself out. He just walked onto one. He maybe got a bit too confident.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he kind of threw it from distance. He kind of just, it was quite a short hand, wasn't it, as well? And then I guess this, what you're pissed off about, I think, is the count felt, in real time, again, being very invested in Wardley, the count did feel short. When it was waved off, when he first went down, I thought, yeah, he's done. But then he got up relatively quickly. It did feel quick. And as I say, my mate who I was with, who is an Ipswich fan, but not a boxing fan, he was saying, should I have let it go on? I was like,
Yeah.
oh. And we were meshing silence saying, yeah, do you know what? I could see if it was the other way round, I think Wardley would have been given the chance.
Oh, nailed on.
Oh, that, again, taking my blue-tinted specs off, that probably leaves a bit of a bad taste in the mouth. The thing
it wasn't even that. That's not even the problem for me. Obviously we both made predictions. You went for a Wardley knockout. I went for Huni masterclass.
Oh, so you got it wrong then? That's what the problem is.
Yeah, I got it wrong. But as it was going on, I'm thinking, I have got this so right. He's absolutely battering Wardley here. This is just an awesome prediction. Wardley, he hasn't even got a punch in him anymore. I was thinking as it went on. When it got to like 7, 8, 9, there was nothing in his punches whatsoever. Nothing there anymore. And I think what really pissed me off is the whole thing with the knockout. Right, it was really, really quick. So the punch was really quick. You didn't see it come in. Huni went down. The camera work was fucking atrocious. There's nothing more you can say about that. They cut to a bad shot of Frank and Eddie while he's on the canvas. I don't know why. I have no idea why. And then when it cut back, they waved it off. And I'm thinking, have you got to 10 yet? Because I didn't hear 10. I don't think he did get to 10. I think he stopped it at 9.
He got to 9 and then...
And it was a great shot. You can't take anything away from Wardley. I don't know how he threw a punch with that much on it when he didn't look like he had. He was getting so badly outclassed. It wasn't even like he's not doing well. There was just a gulf. It was like, people always say there's cliches in boxing. The ones that the two that I hate people to say is styles make fights, because it's such a fucking boring comment. And there's levels to this game. People always say it.
Let me just quickly interject. They're both valid points. I get what you said.
But it's like saying boxers throw punches. Like it's just meaningless. Like you might as well say water's wet. Like, come on.
Again, a valid point. I'm not disagreeing with what you say. I'm just saying.
I think because I said towards the end of last week's podcast, I was like, look, I don't really care who wins this fight. And then that has not proved to be the case whatsoever. And I think the reason I'm so pissed off about it is because a Wardley win is just useless at this point. From that fight, a Wardley win is just useless. Boxing needed Huni to win that fight. Because Wardley, I'm not going to go through my thoughts on the fight all the way through, but Huni outclassed Wardley. Wardley found his level, like quite badly. He found his level in a fight. Huni's stock went up. And I'm not sure Wardley's. I'm pretty sure it went down. To be honest, I really.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because I agree with what you said there. Boo's stock definitely went up. I think Wardley boxed badly for Wardley. Not just it was purely his level. And now obviously Huni made it difficult for him. But there's things that Wardley will do against a boxer, rather than a fighter, which is what Huni, or a puncher, what Huni is. Say, maybe Fraser Clark. And I know it's different. I know it's different. But he'd normally let his right hand go, and he almost looked a bit gun shy.
I think it's because there were just there were combos just coming back at him, just non-stop, just
Yeah,
for every punch he threw, Huni was in and out. He was out of range. He was in range, clipping
he
him
would.
with 2 or 3. And, you know,
He,
they weren't massive punches, but they were enough. They were enough to go, yeah, throw one and you're getting 3 back, mate.
yeah. Well, the one that I think I'll post our messages, but obviously our massive fan base don't have access to our messages. Is the fight it reminds you of is Ortiz versus Wilder, where
1 or 2.
yeah. It's just like where Wilder's losing every round, and I guess that's the most, comparable style. But it's,
And you know, and you know, Wardley, he's knocked everyone he's fought out. That's right, isn't it? Every single fighter he's knocked.
Well, yes, he has, because he knocked Clark out in the second fight. Knocked Clark down in the first fight as well. So every fight he's beat, no one's stayed on their feet for good 12 rounds of him. It's just, I guess, it's the story. We know it, but it's the fact he is learning on the job, and this is the kind of thing that makes it exciting and interesting for me. Is he'll have learned a lot in that fight, but also he wasn't happy with himself. He was, the post-fight interviews, he's not there. He obviously gave a bit of the end, because I think it was that sheer relief. But if you're having a stinker and you manage to pull it back, it felt like that. Rather than him being like, I'm the triumphant hero, I think he was almost like he was thinking, I'm gonna fall flat on my face here. It's gonna be terrible. I thought he was gonna go. It looked like he was. There
was talk. The commentators. I mean, make what you will of the commentators. I mean, again, a few of them were saying after 3-4 rounds, I've got Wardley up here, and I'm like, are you on drugs? Are you on drugs? Like, not a chance. But it's that thing. The commentators always favour the banker, whoever it is that is the money man. They will always favour them. It is getting ridiculous now. They need somebody in to just call it as it is. Yeah. But there was talk of, are they going to pull Wardley out of this, because this is just a beat down. Now I think that would have been the wrong decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a beat down. It hadn't got to that point though, but it was closing in on it. It really felt like it was closing in on it. I think what I'm pissed off about is I don't know who you put Wardley in with now. I think you could stick Huni in. There's loads of fights for Huni now. There's loads of fights for him. He just needs to come in. Yeah, he's 26. He just needs to drop down in the level. But I mean, right now, stick him in with anyone that Wardley's beat, and he's gonna have fun with them all day long.
Yeah, you agree with that. His stock's really risen. I think, again, he's 26, so 10 years time, imagine the final.
in his Indian summer when he gets to 36.
But it's that magic 36. But no, I'm excited about him. He's won a lot of fans. I think he'll have, and he'll be a name now. He's had that. It was a great opportunity for him, even though he's lost. I think his stock's risen. He'll be able to demand more and put himself in that list, in terms of, and this might sound a bit unfair because I guess as a prospect as well, but in terms of at the moment in that tranche of the best of the rest,
yeah, big time.
He's within that. But you're right. It's
so as a Wardley fan,
yeah.
Are you excited about his next fight? Like, because I just don't know how the matchmaking goes from here.
Do you know who I'd love to see him with?
Wait a minute. Let's see what tier he is. You're not going to say Big Bang, are you?
No.
Go on.
Deontay Wilder.
Okay, all right. The knockout.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, I don't know if Wardley's better than Wilder. He might be. If Wilder's lost something, Wilder's fighting in a few weeks or so, isn't he? But because I don't know who, honestly, you look at that, and again, we say about his stock. I feel like Wardley could get a world title,
You said last week you don't think he's going to get one. I think if circumstances go a certain way, he could. I mean, let me say, I felt that before the weekend. Yeah. I'm not sure now. Yes, he's got that punch. I don't know if it's quite the same as Wilder, because I felt like when Wilder was getting beat, he didn't care. that he was getting beat. He did not care one bit. He was just looking for a big haymaker at any point. And that's not what the fight felt like to me on Saturday. I didn't feel like Wardley was like, don't worry about this. I've got a haymaker in my locker.
No. He was more, but maybe he's starting to believe that one. Again, that's his, 20th fight, something like that.
Yeah.
If you include 3-4 white collar fights, that's bugger all, right? Absolute bugger all. So I think he might start to believe he's got more of that power now. The thing is, normally he goes to war, right? And he didn't go to war. He couldn't because he was so good. Maybe he just had an off night. I don't know.
There were a couple of times early on where he sort of did set upon Huni a little bit, but he was quite elusive.
When he started going, he was like, okay, here we go. Because the first Fraser Clark fight, where the whole story was in the build-up, but he's got all the amateur pedigree and he'd be able to pick him off. He didn't respect that. He went to war. Whether it's, and I don't know, whether it's he wasn't, it's not like when Big Baby Miller pulled out, or got pulled out of the AJ fight. There was longer for Wardley to get ready for Huni than there was for Joshua to get ready for Ruiz. But maybe he just wasn't ready for it. Maybe he didn't know enough. I don't know. Maybe he was cautious and was taken aback by how good Huni was. I don't. There won't be a rematch. I don't think there will be. I don't.
Yeah, I've
certainly
seen
from Wardley's side. Why would he?
I've seen a few people say, "Why would you give a rematch to someone that just absolutely batters you for 9 rounds?"
And he's not interested in that. He knows. This is the thing. His post-fight, he's quite honest. He's like, I'm not a boxer. This guy's been boxing since he was 8. I've been boxing 8 years, in total. So I think he knows. The reason I think he might get a world title is because he'll be quite clever with who he picks, or because he's on the interim, the WBA interim. If that belt gets vacated, is he then inherit it effectively? I think that's the way it works.
I don't know.
Right?
Is that what happened with? I don't know what belt.
I think that's what happened
picked up. I mean, yeah.
I'm not. So I'm not.
It's a horrible way to get a title because
100%.
I mean, 100%. even so, I mean, a lot of people kind of said about Daniel Dubois when he beat AJ, that was him sort of winning the title, not winning the title, but he'd been handed to. But that's bollocks because AJ didn't have the title. Like that's just a nonsense. Daniel Dubois, and I'm going to come on to Daniel Dubois in a bit, right? We'll come back to this because I'm quite angry about Daniel Dubois as well at the moment.
It's a bad week, mate.
I am. Yeah, I am. Yeah, but I don't know who you put Wardley in with. I mean, I think they need to be very careful with the matchmaking now. Like I think he could potentially, if the belts splinter out and whatever happens. Let's say Usyk retains the belts and they then have to be he retires and splits out. Then he's got a chance. If that doesn't happen, I don't see it. Like if Dubois knocks Usyk out, or whatever. Let's just say that's a massive if. I don't think he'll get one. I don't think he'll get one that way.
He'll be. What
I thought with Huni is, Huni looked a lot like Agit Kabayel. He fought a lot like Agit Kabayel. Maybe not as. He wasn't quite as ferocious, and he wasn't throwing quite as many punches.
Yeah, it was brutal if you like, Ozzy. But what I think's going to happen with Wardley is the dust will settle as well. It's Monday now. The dust will settle, and people will remember the result more than the performance, and they'll look back at the names on his record and the experience that he's getting and how he's growing all the time. And I think he will get to fight for a world title proper. Also, he can sell tickets. That.
Yeah, that's true.
And they'll want to bring him back to Portman Road now. And I think now that he's won at Portman Road, he'll be less scared of losing at Portman Road, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I do think he will, as much as anything, because he keeps on proving me wrong.
I think the problem is
proving me right. I don't think he'll beat someone. But in my head, I'm kind of thinking he will because he always does. Somehow.
I think the queue is quite. I saw someone say the other day that the heavyweight division is not great at the moment. I think it's all right at the moment.
I really like. I think we're about to after July, whatever it is, 19th, I think it's going to get really interesting.
Yeah, I just think that the line for sort of the belts, you've got Usyk, you've got Dubois. Let's take AJ and Fury out of the equation at the moment.
Yeah,
you've got Caballero and Parker. Someone needs to fight Parker because I don't know how good he is. I hate to say it, like he's had some great wins. But
has he just has the time?
I think there's a little bit of that in his favour. I think Caballero is far superior to Parker. I wouldn't go near him if I were Parker. I mean, I think he'll manage to avoid him. But look at the way Caballero took down Zhang. He absolutely tore him to pieces.
That's mad, really, isn't it?
And I know he's 78 years old, Zhang. But, he still takes a bit of chopping down. Nobody had managed it to this point.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, that would put Wardley like 5 or 6 in line, something like that. I'm going to assume that Joshua is no longer seeking a title and is now just seeking money fights for his 2-fight deal that he's going to sign.
Well, there's talk of him and Wilder, isn't there?
Yeah, which is, that's not a fight to even determine who should fight for a belt. That's just any fight that AJ takes right now is just how many tickets can they sell and can they get it on pay-per-view? Like, there's nothing more than that.
I don't think fair play to him because I think what I've heard is that his focus now is on, he wants to make sure he's fought everyone. Again, the O's gone, the title's gone. So I want to be able to say I did fight Wilder, I did fight Fury. If ever 2 fights, again, Fury, whatever. But if over 2 fights, then it's kind of like boxing completed it, mate. Regardless of results, he's done. He's done what he needed to. You couldn't really level everything at him.
I'm gonna call an absolute wild card. I don't know anything about the guy that Wilder's fighting. I know absolutely nothing.
No,
but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come through it. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know anything about him, but he's looked that bad. He has looked that bad.
He seemed to have lost a lot. I think, what round was it when he got stopped and really stopped by Fury in the second fight? Was it 7th round or something like that? Where he just looked so amused.
He was,
little boy. It was quite hard to watch almost, wasn't it? But in the same breath, very, very enjoyable because of everything he's Deontay Wilder. But that look on his face, I don't think he's been the same since. I don't think he lost part of himself that day. And
he fought a good fight in the third fight. He fought a good fight in the third fight. He really did. He had Fury down a couple of times at least.
We had a go.
Yeah. But I think it's all gone, man. I think it's all gone. Like,
I wouldn't, if he doesn't come through, I wouldn't be surprised. So
if I'm this Herndon guy who Wilder's fighting, just go swinging. I would go in swinging. Might as well. Like he's either going to knock you out, but he looks terrified. I would just swing, just swing.
Yeah, go for him. If I was Barry Herndon's son, I'd go in swinging. Okay. It's fine.
Yeah, and I think what really pissed me off is the whole thing of like DAZN cutting away, so you couldn't actually see the count. It cut into Frank and Eddie was just a bit like, all right, okay, we see why you're cutting away now. Yeah. Cut to the man that's paying for this. The story needs to be Wardley winning. Like, you can't take anything away from the punch. You cannot. But I don't know why they didn't go. I mean, the thing is, I thought, I've watched it again, when Hudi goes down, I think because he's coming in, because he comes into a punch, he meets, obviously he's moving forwards when the punch hits him. He falls backwards, but his head doesn't hit the canvas. So he's got the wherewithal to sort of keep his neck up. So his
left on the leaking, don't they? It looks like.
Yeah. And then he does take a while. So he does take a while. So immediately looked all right. And then he takes a while. And then he gets up. And obviously he's up. And the ref, he hasn't had a look at him. I don't think he's had a look at him at all. I mean, it's a fast count anyway.
again in real time, what we saw of it, Huni doesn't look to appeal or look hard done by, which I found surprising. Now, the thing that was telling for me as well is that Wardley's not dismissed out of hand. Is well, it's not, it's not really my decision. He hasn't said, "Oh no, it was a 10 count," or the count starts on the outside, and then when the referee picks it up, he hasn't said that. He hasn't done like the Josh Taylor being defensive about his win. He's just like, "Well, it's not really my."
He's maybe a bit too honest for that. Maybe he just doesn't.
Well, I
have
think
that in
he
him
is.
anyway.
I think that's good because he's honest about his ability and everything. And then Ben Davison did the Arsene Wenger. Well, I haven't seen it. I'll have to look back.
Ben Davison.
So the fact they're doing that, it kind of they're not dismissing it. I think if it'd be the other way around, they would have been calling out maybe a bit more. I found out
why let a fighter who is just cruising through a fight? Why, when he gets up, why call it out? It's not like he was bouncing off the ropes when he got up and stumbling all over the shop.
No.
From what I could see, I mean,
no, it did look when the ref called it off and he's there. He hasn't done Oscar like that video by appeal. He didn't do that.
No, but I think you can't. I don't think you can place much emphasis on what a fighter does after a fight is called off, because some will just be shocked and just they've just been knocked down. You don't go.
I think for me is he didn't even look shocked. He did look dazed. So I think he did look hurt, and
maybe his eyes were just screwed. Maybe
it was on all the gas. Now I guess that's like a precaution, but nothing was said at the time by his team. It was all got caught there. I have heard today they're going to appeal it.
Pointless. Utterly.
What that means, exactly. What's that mean? Yeah, what's going to happen?
It's utterly. They never appeals. Never work for things like this. It's not going to work in that instance.
What I don't know what the end game is. From that.
I mean, the best thing they could do is try and push for a rematch, but I just don't see Wardley getting anywhere near it. It won't be in the contract. That will not have been a fight with a rematch written in its contract. So there's no way Wardley goes there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you the only person I don't want to see Wardley fight next. That's because when we keep talking about heavyweights and, sort of we're doing our matchmaking here, I think we'll talk about, the young hope of heavyweight in a bit. The name that I just heard on the radio says, of course, Lawrence Okolie. I was like, do not talk to me about Lawrence Okolie. I do not want to
you say you don't want Wardley to fight Okolie, but do you want to see Okolie fighting anyone?
No, exactly. It's just when I hear his name, I would like to see him fight someone. What I don't want to see is to hug someone for 12 rounds and somehow get a decision or a knockout. The heavyweight division is exciting, but when I hear Lawrence Okolie's name, I just feel depressed.
Yeah, we're not giving Okolie any time. We're not giving him any time. Well, just one final point I wanted to say. Obviously, I know Ipswich has got a big trans community, and it was nice to see Wardley wearing a skirt to fight in again. Really raising awareness. On the right stage to do it.
You know what? He had his moment. He took it. Again, that was 90% of the conversation I was having with my wife and mate and his missus was, why do I wear? Must be weird boxing in a skirt. It's like, and his shorts are quite long, aren't they?
I don't think Wardley's good enough to carry off that skirt. If I'm honest, I think when I think of fighters in sort of flare shorts, like really standout shorts. I think of Hector Camacho from back in the day. He was an absolute lunatic. I think of, and maybe Prince Nazim a little bit.
I was going to go Naz, Naz.
Yeah.
Naz wasn't afraid of a tassel, was he?
But yeah, I don't know. It's I don't think he's quite good enough to pull off those shorts. I think just stick to the basics. I'd say get yourself a pair of Bacoli's and crack on with it.
Yeah. As your final thought, leave the skirt. You made your point, and fair play to you for that. But yeah, didn't rock it. You always wears that though.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. It wasn't a one-off. So I mean, we spent a good 10 minutes last week talking about who Dillian Whyte was going to fight on that card, and then no sooner than I got home to do the edit, Dillian Whyte had pulled out of the fight because it was said he had a big fight coming up in August.
Yeah.
He got an opportunity for a massive fight in August. That has since been named, but I don't know if it's been fully signed yet.
I don't think it's been fully signed yet. But this is the thing. We spent like 10 minutes last week talking about it. But then maybe 2-3 weeks ago after Itauma had his fight, I called this we had about 15 seconds on it. We said, what about Dillian Whyte? Yeah, I'd like to see that. That'd be great. And then that's what appears to be happening. When you messaged me about this on Saturday, I actually thought, and I have been drinking all day Saturday, I actually thought, what, tonight? But I mean, no, that would be awesome. That would be the Glastonbury secret set I was talking about. But no, in August, I think is when they're talking about it. Right?
August, yeah. So supposedly, Itauma's fighting Whyte. I don't know how I feel about this fight. We talked about it last week quite a bit, and we both sort of landed on it, and we said it'd be great for Saturday for the undercard, and we were saying it could be a headline, but or as a co-main on the Saturday. I don't know how I feel about this fight in August, if I'm quite honest, because if I was going to put a bet on, I'm going to say Moses Itauma knocks him out in one round. That's what I'm saying for that one. Whyte is all wrong from Moses Itauma. You couldn't. If I said to you, I was thinking about this earlier on actually. Just describe the fighter that's going to beat Moses Itauma in terms of like how he's built, how he moves, all of that stuff, right? And if you can't do that off the top of your head, think of Dillian Whyte and do everything the opposite.
I'm going to Dillian Whyte when I'm doing it. I'm picturing, but it's not him, is it?
A guy that can barely move, that likes to stand right in your pocket. He seems to have lost his punch, so his big shots seem to have sort of gone from him recently.
They've been the last 2 fights where he's starting to play out.
Yeah, so yeah, well, I mean, nobody knows on the one prior to FA Ajagba because it was in a hotel in Ireland, so nobody really got to see it. There was no official footage from the event, so it was if you wanted to see that, there was like people on Twitter that.
How many years ago was it since he got pushed over by Tyson Fury? That was like 2-3 years ago. That for me,
it's going back a bit, and that was a bad fight. That
exactly. That for me now feels like and then he didn't have the fight with Ajo. It was meant to come after that. Is that right? That's when he got again. So I've kind of not really paid a lot of attention to him. I'd forgotten he was still going.
I'm kind of a bit, I'm in a really bad mood out of this week, but I'm a little bit pissed off again that Dillian Whyte is a drugs cheat. Don't put him in with Moses Itauma. Like, I think if I'm Moses Itauma's like dad, don't fucking put him in with Dillian Whyte. He'll probably be taking any old shit. Like there's a slim chance, right, that Whyte will catch him with something and might be drugged off his head with whatever. I'd just be like, not Dillian Whyte, mate. No, that's my son. He's 20. Not a chance.
Yeah, I don't know whether they're looking at it that way. Why you would. But I think, for all the reasons we spoke about at home and while we said Dillian Whyte could be an option the other week is because he'll take the fight and he's a name. And they're the two things, small criteria, but they're the two things that Itauma needs: a name and someone who's actually going to come and give him a test. And it's how good is Itauma? Right, well, give us your most junked up Dillian Whyte, and let's see how good you really are.
I mean, I don't think a juiced up Whyte beats Itauma anyway. If Whyte, I'll be impressed if he survives a round. Honestly, I'll be impressed. He cannot move. He was a plodder when he was in his peak.
Yeah.
He's too quick. He's just way too quick. I
think the name.
It's a headliner. This is a Saudi headliner, by the way. They keep saying Itauma needs to get rounds. He needs to face somebody that's going to show a little bit of resistance. It's a weird thing because they say, we won't know until he's taken a punch and he needs to do some rounds. I don't think that's one fighter. I don't think there's anybody there that's going to throw punches and survive rounds. Because Itauma, if you hit him, he's going to hit you back.
Yeah, it's rounds, but it's rounds in the ring. I don't think he's going to get there until he gets to the top table. I do think with the Whyte thing, just back to, I guess, the parallels of AJ. Obviously, Whyte's a different fighter now to what he was from when he fought AJ. But I think at the time, if you look at who AJ had fought, there were no real names on his record, and I think
the
role that Dillian Whyte's going to play here as well, and he's that, it would be equivalent, I guess, at the time, which might be a bit unfair given what he went on to do afterwards, if AJ had fought Chisora or someone like that. I know Chisora then had kind of been able to fight with Dillian Whyte and actually kind of came again, which maybe Dillian Whyte will do. So I guess from Dillian Whyte's perspective, that's what he'll be looking to do. Give a good account of himself.
I can't help but see it as though they've chucked shitloads of money at Whyte to get him in with Itauma, and he's taking it. I'm sure he'll give it a go. Like I don't think Whyte is there to roll over. I just don't think he's going to be he's 37, I think now. I just don't think he's anywhere near.
He's fast to go.
Oh, yeah, he's 1 year out for being.
He's 1 year out. It's come 1 year too late. Oh.
So bizarrely, I was really excited about the fight being dropped last week as a last minute, but I'm not massively excited. I mean, it'll be great to watch, but it's going to be I don't like headline fights when they're over really quickly. Like this, when you're building up for it, like if it's a Riyadh card, it's one of those where you're going to be watching a lot of the undercard.
Exactly. Well, that's it. It will need that. But it's two good names. Say there's and afterwards, the way we kind of rewrite what happens, it'll be the story that Moses Itauma knocks out former world title challenger Dillian Whyte, and good kind of
I think there's just a reality to it in there that Whyte's just struggled to put a Jagber out, and before that he fought on a card where nobody filmed it. Like he's very much on the down, and he's not just on the down a little bit. He's quite badly on the slide. Is Whyte.
The tree falls in a wood and no one sees it. Dillian Whyte fights someone in Ireland and they just didn't even bother to report it. There's a count on your record.
Yeah, and also it's Itauma means he's out in August, so that'll be his second fight of the year.
I'm excited. Itauma's reaching the stage where he can sell a fight just by his name. He doesn't really need to do or say.
I think I'm
so excited by him after that last performance. I just, which I know you weren't as excited about, but I'm fully.
I was more excited. I was more amazed that he cleaned out Dempsey McKean. I thought that was more surprising because Dempsey McKean's absolutely massive as well. Like he's huge. He's really tall.
Yeah.
And supposedly quite durable. So I was more impressed with that than Mike American Football. It was, how old is he? How old was Balogun? Is he 41? Is that real?
I think he was. Well, he is, unless he's since the fight. But I think he was more how
48, 40.
We covered it. He just looked so good, and his speed and his movement and again, the thing that you're not sold on, which I am, is Ben Davison and his defensive work.
Why are you sold on Ben Davison? Because name me one fighter that he's improved.
Okay. I really like him because of the role he played, and I'm going to argue with myself here. I liked him in the role he played in Tyson Fury's comeback and his journey up to the first Deontay Wilder fight. That he got him, went and moved out with him. This unknown trainer, Tyson Fury, had taken a chance on. I think he did some stuff with Billy Joe as well, didn't he? I think he
has been a couple of times. He's been with.
I think he was with him with Canelo and maybe fights before that. But the Tyson Fury Wilder one fight where he was almost part of that great comeback story. That said, I liked that performance from Tyson Fury because it was so it was surprising at the time. Looking back and eating the fullness time, it doesn't feel so surprising, but it felt surprising at the time and fantastic. And I feel like Ben Davison's star rose a lot because of that. That said, Fury was doing that anyway to a better degree before he got.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
There was, and the nothing don't fight. So I equate that with Ben Davison, and then the fact that he's in there with, he's got Joshua Wardley and
Itauma.
I'm like, well, he must be doing something right.
But what's he done for Joshua? Like, not much. I don't think you can say he's done much there. I just don't know. His fighters seem to come to him now, sort of when they're already there, and I don't know that he really improves them at all.
Yeah, maybe. I can,
and I didn't see anything. I didn't see any good boxing from Wardley on Saturday night.
No, he didn't. But I see him, and in my head, I equate that with a good defense.
Yeah,
which is what I think. Given Itauma's natural power and ability and speed, it feels like if he can defend, then I think we've got something very special.
I think Itauma should change trainer. Like, just go and change trainer. Like, get yourself a proper trainer. Who would I go as if I was Itauma? It's got to be someone British, hasn't it? Probably Shane McGuigan, I would think.
Yeah, Shane McGuigan. Yeah.
Andy Lee, Shane McGuigan, one of those two.
Andy Lee, yeah. Andy.
Yeah. I just don't. If we're saying that Ben Davison sort of picks up fighters when they're at their peak, Itauma's not there, and he's the only one I can sort of think of. He's got Lee Wood. Who else has he got? He had Lee Wood. Josh Taylor as well was Ben Davison.
How long has he had Lee Wood for? Did he have Lee Wood in the Warrington? Or I guess he'll have had Ben in the Warrington fight. Did he have him in Conlon?
He's had him for quite a while, I think. So I don't know. I'm not sold. I'm just totally not sold. I don't know. Maybe he can. He's a bit of a dick as well, isn't he? Let's be honest.
I like him.
It's just quite arrogant, and I'm like,
I think he looks it, but when he talks, I think he talks a bit of sense. So
he has criticised like boxing coaches in the UK a couple of times and said that they're behind the times and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, I just don't know if you're there to be able to do that yet.
Yeah, maybe not. Is that us on Itauma Whyte?
Say that again, sorry?
Is that us on Itauma Whyte?
I think we're done on that. Yeah, It's a nice name. It's a nice fighting name, is what I'm going to say, and it will be a nice body on the record of Itauma. At best, I think Whyte will get to 2 rounds. There might be a round to feel. I don't know. I don't know how he deals with him. I just do not.
I just think he has so much heart as well, though, Whyte. I think he's a proud man.
But he's susceptible to being cleaned out with one punch, is Whyte. He really is. Like, Povetkin did it to him from absolutely nowhere. Fury, obviously. I mean, if you're Moses Itauma, leave every punch alone and just throw uppercuts because he's all over for Dillian Whyte.
Yeah.
Didn't Joshua? I don't know if he did him with an uppercut, but like it's his absolute. It's his. Yeah, I think it was the uppercut might have been the start of the end, or it was it's his kryptonite.
Where he kind of went through the limp on the ropes, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you remember when Whyte at the end of the first round with Joshua?
Yeah.
I think to Joshua, he either said something or he chucked a late punch.
He kind of did like a
and Whyte steamed over the corner and did full windmill punch.
And then everyone just a load of his mate chucked in the ring, and it was like, oh god, this is getting a bit real now.
Because that punch is almost what I think of Dillian Whyte. Just wildly swinging punches. And he missed the stationary target as well.
In fairness, if I'm unfairly praising Ben Davison and freezing him in time on the Tyson Fury,
I'm being quite.
I think it is slightly unfair on Dillian Whyte.
All right, well, that punch is where he's at now. Then that's what I'm saying.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see in August. Yeah.
So what else have we got? We had
maybe very quickly on Josh Kelly, Opetaia. Josh Kelly, I think, is most interesting since the fight. Like, he looked like he could do what he wanted in the fight against the Romanian guy's name I don't know.
It was Biea, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Biea.
yeah. So he only spoke a few weeks ago about the concept of Josh Kelly, and I was saying he had a fight early in his career when he just turned over and he threw loads of left hooks to the body. He did that a few times, not as many, but he did 2, 3 real succession. And he looked like he was sort of having fun out there. I say fun, he looked like he'd come to get rid of the guy. He weren't messing about his run, going to get him, get out of there. And he could hit him at will, and he did. And the bloke obviously was very much there to lose. And lose he did. And I think since then he's called out Ben, and I feel like he's trying to do this now, be a bit more of a voice, and make up for time and try and get some fights. He doesn't think he's saying doesn't think he'll get the domestic fight because they're Ben and Eubank tied up. I think Ben called him out years ago when Kelly was the name, and now Kelly's like, oh, but Ben used to call out everyone and nothing happens. So I think he's thinking his best bet is probably actually to get a title, and then he can get the domestic fight. Get the title, and then he'll be more of a name to get the money, which is what he wants. So, fair enough. I think that's he needed to really look at doing it, and he did that. And then,
just
can you get him out there again?
Basically that, because what do we learn about Josh Kelly? Not a lot.
No,
like, he cleaned out a guy that he shouldn't have been in the ring with. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
Like a bit weirdly, the whole weekend was sort of heavily one-sided fights. It's just that Wardley happened to get a win. And the other sort of heavily one-sided fight was Opetaia versus Squeo.
I mean, the best thing for me about that fight was I've watched the Australian footage, and Squeo, God, your accent is fantastic. Squeo, and the fact as well that maybe this isn't the most insightful take on it. One, the way the commentator said his name, very funny.
It was good, yeah. I enjoyed that as well. I watched the Aussie commentary on that.
2, a ginger Italian.
Well, also, he looked a lot like a fat Canelo, didn't he?
Yeah. I guess if you can have a ginger Mexican, why not a ginger Italian? I guess that's fair enough. But the knockout, I mean, Squeo, I felt...
Was that the knockout where he got hit and there was a little pause where he was like, oh shit, I've been really hurt here?
Yeah, he just sort of like sat in the corner. I know it sounds really like I'm being harsh. Like, it's like, having never stepped over the ring. But he's like, oh shit, that really... I think he broke his jaw maybe.
Okay.
But I think it was basically like...
There was like a moment where I think he got hit and he sort of turned to the side before he sat down in the corner. It was like, oh, he's badly hurt here.
I don't want any more of this. Can I get paid now?
I mean, I will say, fair play to Squeo because he threw some bombs while he was there. He did. He had a go against Opetaia. I don't know what Opetaia was doing in the ring with him. Again,
levels make us.
There's levels. Carrying on with my theme for today. Why hasn't Opetaia got more names on his CV? I mean, I suppose they're waiting for the Ramirez fight potentially. Although there is talk that Ramirez has got a deal with. You ready for this? Jake Paul. There's talk of that he's fighting soon, isn't he? Anyway, Ramirez he's fighting pretty soon. But I believe there might be a Jake Paul fight after that.
Game's gone, mate. Game's gone. If that happens, and I hope to God it doesn't, because I want to see the Opetaia Ramirez fight. So I think that'll be a good fight. That will be a good fight.
Yeah.
And then
I think the thing is, everyone's so hyped on Opetaia, and it's like great because he does look great. He does look really good. But he's got to fight some people now. He's got to fight some people.
Well, hopefully he gets to fight Ramirez. And then I think what I'd love to see is see Opetaia go up and have that all-Aussie clash. Opetaia versus Huni. Because Australian boxing was maybe never had it so good. I'm trying to think of, other Australian boxers.
I'd watch that. I'd be there for that.
Do you know what? I'd really love that. I'd really like to watch that fight. So
Put Darmy in for any Huni fight. He looked great. I was
Okay,
watching him. He was a great fighter to watch.
it was really good. Really good. Yeah, really good. Hard done by. Yeah. Opetaia does look good. Opetaia does look good. But again, take the point on the names. Hopefully, he gets the Ramirez fight. Ramirez fighting Jake Paul. But if he does, just a stupider Jake Paul.
Yeah, there's not cruiserweight. I don't think is that great. Because
It's not. It's maybe
the other names. The other names are Billum Smith, and we've already seen him sort of hit his limit. So
who is, because all the other cruiserweights have gone either to that bridgerweight or heavyweight, but ones who were bridgerweight.
maybe you're thinking wrong. Maybe Opetaia should step up to bridgerweight and get himself a title there. What a waste! I kind of get the idea of it, because there was a time where it felt like cruiserweight, the gap between cruiserweight and heavyweight was getting bigger, because obviously when I guess like Klitschko, AJ, they were all absolutely massive, Fury massive,
Heavyweight,
and cruiserweight, hitting the limit, and then you've got heavyweights who are just completely limitless. And I sort of get the idea of bridgerweight coming, but it just doesn't. It hasn't worked, has it?
No. I'm trying to even think of anyone who's in there.
Who won? Was it did Okoli win the title there?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Let's say go do a number on Okoli. He can escape his clutch.
But he was there, but he's not anymore. He's heavyweight now, isn't he? So didn't last long.
The shining light of the heavyweight division. Yeah. No, Opetaia, Ramirez, and then I guess Opetaia moves up. But then I'm just completely dismissing Ramirez out of hand. Which is probably quite disrespectful.
I think Opetaia would go into that fight favourite, but I don't think that's a foregone conclusion.
No, it's not. It's not. But that'll be a good one to watch. Yeah.
And then June, the rest of June, is quite frankly appalling.
Yeah. Hello.
But there is some good news, because July is looking brilliant. Really, really good July. There's loads of stuff coming in July.
Yeah.
So Taylor Serrano 3 is going to be one of them.
Yeah.
See if the judges get the message this time.
Yeah. Is that in New York? Is that going to be in New York?
I don't know. To be honest with you,
Hamza Gilwans is fighting, isn't it, in New York, I believe?
Yeah, he's fighting Balanga, which is interesting fight to take, considering he looked pretty bad against Adames, and
he's good.
I don't know much about Balanga. Obviously, for Canelo.
I don't know a lot about it. I'm just Hamza Shiraz is one of those I'm quite excited about.
He's a really weird fighter, because he was. If you saw him fight Amo Williams, he was just so unbelievably dominant, and it was like, this is ridiculous. Like, it just felt like he was in with mismatches. And then he got in with Adames, and he did not have his own way, and he got away with it. Did he get away with a draw in that? And there was no way was that fight a draw.
Yeah, but you often get that with prospects, don't you? In terms of they look, and this is the trouble with the matchmaking. They look great until they don't, and you're not sure if it's because they're so good or if they're up against no ones. Remember when? I guess when really prospects the right thing, but when Conor Benn had that fight where he won it, he got knocked all over the shop. I think he was I think he may be fighting in
against
Spot
that
or something. I think can't remember who he was fighting.
It was that French dude.
That's it. Yeah. So when they're just going through people, and then they have that wake up call. So maybe it was that, and I guess that's what the Hamza Shiraz team will be telling themselves. And
I might be wrong. I just felt like after he sort of got a little bit found out against the Adames, maybe Balanga is just a bit, because he's moved up. So he's moved up weight. So maybe
Balanga or Shiraz, sorry.
Shiraz has moved up, hasn't he? So I don't know if Balanga was a little bit too soon. I might be, I might eat my words, because when he looks good, Shiraz, he does look very, very good.
We'll see. But yeah, there's lots of Got Holland Newbank as well, and and Catterall in July as well, and then obviously Usyk Dubois. I don't know who's on the undercard of Usyk Dubois. I was assuming there'll be some decent
I still don't think it's been announced yet.
Was it not? But you assume there'll be some decent ones in that.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do about that because, mind you, they're quite often late at announcing undercards for the Saudi fights because I think when you've got a fight like that, you know it's going to sell. So you don't really need to pack the undercard. I think they can potentially be a little bit picky and say, oh, we're going to have who we want on this undercard because it's going to sell anyway.
Yeah, get a couple of local lads out.
Yeah, I'm not sure that will be happening, but I don't know who they're going to put on it because there's quite a few of the heavyweights not fighting at the moment. I'm not sure what's going on with Caballel, and I'm not sure who he's fighting next. Joe Parker needs to fight. He's got to be on that card. Has to be. Like they must be putting him on that card. Joe Parker is owed a big fight.
He is, but does he want to be on an undercard? Does he not just want a big payday and a world title fight? Like, does he? I don't know.
But is he going to get it? Because
I don't know how quickly it can come.
Oh, speaking of which, so I said I wanted to have a chat about Usyk Dubois. So tell me why everybody thinks that Dubois is in with a much better chance at beating Usyk. Explain that to me, because from what I remember, Dubois, let's just call it as it is. He put Usyk on the seat of his pants, right? Whether you call it, below the belt or not, he put Usyk on the seat of his pants. So Usyk has been down. Yes, he got 5 minutes, but the man that went down is Usyk.
Yeah.
And then Dubois got absolutely battered. Like, not just battered, right? He quit.
Yeah.
He got so badly beaten that he just gave up.
Yeah. So the two schools of thought I'll put as in terms of how it could go. First, I'm going to make the case for why Dubois could win and why people are doing this. But then I'll make the case for why I'm absolutely convinced Usyk will win it.
Okay.
But the reason Dubois could win it, and the reason people believe it, is because Dubois did put him down.
Yep.
Did put him down. When Dubois went to Usyk, no one gave him a chance. It was in Poland.
Yeah.
Just after the war started, and this was the first event for the Ukraine people, if you like. He went there to lose, same as Huni went to Portman Road to lose this week. He put him down, and unless it was a really, really clean punch, I feel like Usyk was always going to be given a chance. I don't think Dubois felt like he could beat him, and then when that didn't happen, maybe Dubois went into himself.
Okay, so that is a problem straight away.
Yeah, well, yes, but since then, Dubois beaten
Big Fat Miller, Big Farmer Miller, as they call him,
Farmer, and the AJ fight. Yeah, when he won the title against stage. but he's.
did you watch the Big Farmer Miller fight?
Yeah, I did.
There was moments in there where it looked like Dubois was going to get beat. Like he didn't get, not like he was getting battered, but it was like Big Baby Miller just was not stopping coming forward.
Well, he was.
There was like mid rounds, Dubois was like running out of ideas. And fair play, he came through it, right? But it's Big Baby Miller, right?
Yeah.
And Big Baby Miller is rubbish, right? It's just, I don't know why he's got a reputation as almost like this top tier, like fringe title challenger.
Because he's a 20 stone infant. That's why.
Well, he is a 20 stone infant, but he hasn't beaten anyone. Like, there's nobody on his record. His best result, well, we'll give him, is a draw against the other great heavyweight disappointment, Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
He's not that good, right? So I'm scrubbing that one out. Big Baby Miller, he's not that good.
But the thing is,
Dubois beat Big Baby Miller.
It was a heart test, So it was a heart test for Dubois that he came through, and
he did. All right, he came through against Miller, a plodder. But it's not the same. It's not the same.
No, of course it's not the same. Of course it's the same.
It's not like getting punched just like by this little bobbing rabbit who just never stops. It just keeps hitting you in the head non-stop.
I'll come to why you sequence in a minute. But then he beats Joshua. But again, he went to Wembley to lose. People.
Well, not in my book, he didn't.
Not in your book,
I
but-
actually, I've been very down on Dubois.
Yeah.
I thought
know
he would. I thought he would clean Joshua
But-
out that night.
But that's me doing Wembley. The 90,000 there.
Yeah, everyone.
10% were there for Dubois, if I'm being kind. So, again, that shows mental strength and also skill and ability. And he just seems, I know you sort of jokes always, let's go. He seems to be kind of growing up, and he seems to, I don't know, it feels more like he believes in himself. So it feels like it's a better version of Dubois than it was in the first fight. It's a Dubois with a world title, so he's actually won, or kept.
Well,
he's
been given a title.
He's been given and he's kept it against Joshua, who was over.
To be fair,
he's the hobby.
It's a good title defense to have as your first title defense.
It's a good name on the record, and so he's a different proposition to what he was in the first fight, and I think he goes into it more belief because he also
he might.
Yeah.
But I don't think that changes anything from Usyk's perspective. If anything, I mean, a few people were saying Usyk seemed a little bit rattled in the sort of build-up when all Daniel Dubois' crew were sort of getting in his face and saying that he, cheated and all that shit. Not absolute nonsense, that, by the way.
I think Dubois genuinely thinks it was a fair punch as well, and he thinks that if it's not on a home crowd, he'll get a better shot at him. So I think Dubois goes into it with more belief. Why I think all of that's completely irrelevant and Usyk will win.
Because, meanwhile, you've got to do the meanwhile. So you've done Daniel Dubois since the fight.
Yeah.
Now let's go and see what Usyk's done.
So basically, Usyk gets better as a fight goes on, which he did in that fight.
Every time. Yeah.
Which he's done in every fight, right? So he'll reach a point where he just goes, now I'm going to beat you because I figured you out. Now he's had however many rounds it was it 9 rounds? I can't remember what it was, but however many rounds he had with Dubois in the first fight, right? Mm-hmm. So he's had that. And now he's been did he fight AJ again after? Was Dubois before the AJ fights or after? I can't remember.
It has to be after.
Yeah. Then he's fought Fury twice, better level, and he's got better in both of those. So I can't see a way other than, puncher's chance, but I just don't believe he'll get Usyk. I think Usyk's too good, too clever, too sharp, too
only way
quick and just too formidable. So I think it's there for my view is it's there for Usyk to tie it up. He's beaten Fury twice, he's beaten Joshua twice, he'll beat Dubois twice. Boxing completed it, mate. Off I go if he wants to, and then all the belts are thrown up in the air. Wardley's like, right, I'll have a WBA. Such do that, Parker's getting one. There's belts to go around then. So, but yeah, I can't see. I don't think Dubois beats Usyk, but I can see how it'll be sold and why they'll tell us that he could, and I'll buy into that. And I think, and I'll watch it anyway. But there will be part of thinking he's got a chance. He's got a chance.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
everyone. Every fighter's always got a chance. And I don't even really subscribe to like big punches and stuff like that. Because if you get someone, anyone can knock anyone out. Like anyone can knock anyone out. That's nailed on. Like I know there are people that have got devastating punches, but heavyweights hit hard. Catch someone when they're at the wrong time and they're going down. Yeah. But I don't get this narrative that Daniel Dubois is so much better. I just don't buy into it at all. I think Usyk's probably got the better experience of the two since the first fight anyway.
Yeah, of course,
yes. Because there were hard fights against Tyson Fury and he got through them both. He had his moments where first fight got not rocked. He definitely didn't get rocked, but he got like stunned a couple of times with some big shots.
Who else has Dubois fought anyone else other than Big Baby and Joshua?
Philip Hrgovic.
Yes.
Stopped Hrgovic.
Of course, right, okay. So that's decent as well, actually. To be
Yeah,
fair,
it is. But he
so
ate.
I do think, and if you
He
look at
ate shots, didn't he? He ate shot
yeah,
after shot after shot against Togovic.
yeah, and if you look at who he fought, I'm just getting these box records now just to kind of refresh myself in terms of who he fought before.
I mean, if you want,
It was the Reina, wasn't it? So yeah, okay, right. So if you're going into that, you're going into Usyk off the back of the Lorena victory.
it's a terrible fight to go into the Usyk
Trevor
fight from.
Bryan, he'd lost to Joe Joyce. That for me was, I was thinking, right, he's done after.
I suppose fair play.
So
It was
then Jarrell Miller, Hergovic, Joshua. He's got to go into it more belief. It is a different proposition. It is, but I still think Usyk wins because I think Usyk beats everyone.
Yeah, I suppose. I'll give you that. I just don't think he's that much of a better boxer now.
No. But yeah, I wouldn't. There was part of me which would expect him to almost quit in that fight and be looking for a way out.
I don't
think he's going to be looking for a way out in this. I think he's looking.
I don't believe the quit has left him. I don't. If you do that, I don't think you ever get past that. Like, particularly against the Usyk, like he's just the man that will break your spirit.
Yeah. Take your soul.
And it was a quit. Like, there's just it was a total quit again. Obviously, I let him off with the Joe Joyce one because
gave him a pass.
Yeah. Although I don't let Billy Joe Saunders off for the same thing. That's because he's a twat.
Of course, that's different. I mean, but
it's just because he's a twat.
Yeah. And he was rather outspoken on the subject. So
exactly. So that's why he doesn't get past. I mean, the weird thing is with heavyweights, the triangles of heavyweights at the moment is absolutely wild. So if you go, well, Joe Parker is sort of, he's there or thereabouts on the fringe of a sort of title fight, but both Joe Joyce and Dillian Whyte have beaten him.
Yeah.
Two fighters that are totally, out in the wilderness sort of thing. Joshua's beaten both of them. He's kind of out in the wilderness as well. I mean, Joshua's two fight deal is going to be such a weird sell. Because like,
I just think after July 19th or whatever it is, Usyk wins, he walks away. It's all to play for. Then there's so many boxers there's so many fights in there.
All right, then quickly, what if Dubois wins?
I really don't think he will, but if he does,
is there an instant rematch? I'd imagine there's...
Yes, good. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
I'd imagine there's a contract for that rematch already there, so I think it's if Usyk wants it or not.
Yeah, I just can't see it. It's interesting because, again, it'd be great. It would almost feel like the other thing I was saying I like about boxing not being partisan. It does feel like if the Wild does this, he avenges Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. And it's like the British heavyweights are back on top.
Here's a scenario then.
Sure.
Dubois knocks out Usyk, making Dubois the unified champ.
Yeah, mad.
His next fight is Moses Itauma.
Love to see it. Honestly, that would be great.
Don't think they'd throw him in just yet. There'd have to be another fight between.
Maybe one more.
Yeah.
Fabio Wardley for the interim. I would not. Don't put Wardley in there. Don't want to see it.
I can't see Warren doing that with his two fighters.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Just keep them. Never the twain shall meet.
Is that us for this week?
I think so, man. I think so.